Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm finally doing that video that people have been asking me to do. I'm gonna explain to you guys how I was able to take my family of 4 from Anchorage, Alaska to Kauai to stay at the Grand Hyatt Kauai. Just to stay there alone for the 4 nights, it would have been over $4,000, but we paid nothing. So how the heck did I do it? A little over a year ago, I was feeling frustrated and just sick of seeing everyone travel and do these amazing trips, and I just happened to come across a reel on Instagram about travel hacking. And in that reel, it talked about how you can open up credit cards and use the welcome offers to book trips. So I was hesitant to get into this. And just a warning, if you are someone that has a spending problem or has a lot of credit card debt already or is not organized, this is not the hobby for you to get into, because you can get into a lot more trouble if you are not careful. So with these new credit cards, I use them as debit cards. I don't go out and buy things I don't need. I use them and pay them off. So just that little warning, I don't want to cause more debt or issues for anyone. The first thing I did once I said, okay, I want to try this out, I opened up the World of Hyatt credit card. So that looks like this, and with this credit card, I was able to get 30,000 Hyatt points. And the way the credit card offers or the welcome offers work, you have to hit a minimum spend of, usually it's like $3,000 or $4,000 within the first 3 months in order to get that welcome offer. So there's a lot of people that mess up that way. Like they think just by opening the card, they'll get the welcome offer, but it's usually after you've hit that minimum spend. Well, not usually, all the time. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you stay organized, you keep track so that you know when you hit that minimum spend, and make sure you do it within that time frame that the offer says. So for this particular card, it was $3,000 for the first 3 months. Us as a family of 4, we hit that very quickly. I did not go out and buy a new TV or a new expensive item. All I did was switch our regular bills to the credit card. I couldn't do the mortgage or my like student loans and stuff, but I was able to use the our cell phone bills, our gas, our electric, our groceries. If we go eat out, we all focus on that one card. And then once we hit that minimum spend, I got 30,000 Hyatt points. And then a month after opening that card, I opened up the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, which this one is actually the best one to start off if you're gonna do travel hacking, because that card has flexible points. You're not just stuck with one brand. Like the Hyatt card, I'm stuck with just using it with Hyatt. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, you can use it for airlines, different hotels. You can use it for different things. The offer on that card when I opened it was 80,000 Chase Sapphire Preferred points after hitting $4,000 in the first 3 months, which again, I'm a budgeter, so that's a whole other video that could be done, but I already know like our monthly expenses are a lot. So for us, hitting $4,000 in 3 months is not difficult when we're both working on it. There's many different ways you can hit that minimum spend. So like, let's say you go out with coworkers or order like DoorDash food or whatever, you put it on the card and have them Venmo you. You can do it. It doesn't mean you have to go do a big purchase that you don't need. So after I hit that minimum spend, I received 80,000 points, which I then transferred from the Chase website to Hyatt. So that brought me to a total of 110,000 points. In order to stay at that resort, the Grand Hyatt Kauai, the rooms there range between $800 to a little over $1,000 a night. And that was just for our standard room. So that would have cost us, I wrote it down. So for a member rate for the dates that we chose, it was $864 plus $55 resort fee. So it would have been a total of $4,075.28. For a non-member, it was $881 a night plus the $55 resort fee, bringing the total to $4,153.12, which I would never pay. I love the resort. It was beautiful, but I, as a person, would never pay that much money to stay anywhere. With us using points, I paid $0 plus like there's no resort fee. Just by opening up those 2 credit cards, I already had 110,000 points. The total for our trip was 115,000 points. So I was only 5,000 points shy, but you get points for using the cards. So I got those 5,000 points quickly. So that wasn't an issue. So I actually booked our rooms to the Grand Hyatt Kauai 9 months in advance. As soon as I had enough points, I booked it because that's a popular place and it fills up pretty fast. So you usually have to book that far out to find available rooms with points. Typically rooms range there from 25,000 to 35,000 points a night. $0 for doing stuff that I already do. So the whole point, like if you see this as a game, you're getting something out of living. Because I feel like nowadays you get charged for everything. There's a subscription for everything. There's a bill for everything. So you might as well get something out of it. Just from us paying our bills, we didn't do anything special. All we did was pay what we would have normally paid, and we got a trip to this luxury resort in Kauai. That's crazy. And since I booked it out so far in advance, then all I had left was to figure out how we were going to get there. So figure out the flights. Living in Alaska, it is difficult sometimes to get out of here. Flights are not cheap. We don't have as many options as people in the lower 48. We're stuck with limited choices. There have been times where we have paid thousands of dollars to travel within our own state. Like for a flight that's like an hour and 15 minutes, you could easily spend, like for a family of 4, thousands of dollars. You're not even leaving the state, whatever. That's a whole separate issue. But I looked for months trying to see if the prices would drop. Every time I checked, I felt like the prices just kept going up. So what I ended up doing to cover our flights was using miles to get us from Anchorage to Kauai, and then I used Alaska Airlines companion fares to get us back from Kauai to Anchorage. So I ended up opening the Alaska Airlines signature card. With this card, I received 40,000 miles for opening the card after spending, I can't remember the minimum spend on that one. I didn't write it down. This was a few months after I opened the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So I got 40,000 miles from that. Then I referred Brian, who is my player 2. So if you look into travel hacking, you'll hear a term called player 2, and that's someone that is kind of working with you to collect points. I have the perfect player 2 because he does not have the travel bug. He is a homebody. He could care less if we never go anywhere ever again. So I say he's a perfect player 2 because he just gives me his points so that I could do my trips, and he's totally okay with that. Thanks, Brian. So anyway, after I opened up the card, I referred Brian for the Alaska Airlines credit card, and he got approved. So I got an additional 10,000 miles for referring him, and then he got 50,000 miles because there was a special at that time. So he got 50,000 miles for opening his and hitting that minimum spend. So total, we had just from that 100,000 miles. Which is insane. Again, we didn't buy anything fancy, nothing, no big purchases, just our bills. And we're alternating. So I'm working on a card, then we move on to work on his card, then we'll work on my card, and then like going back and forth between you and your player 2 so that you don't miss out on hitting a minimum spend. Because if you're both working on one at the same time, it could be difficult. But so that's why we alternate. So once we're done with one, we move on to the next. So looking for flights, oh my gosh, I could not find a flight out of Anchorage for less than $1,000. Like everything was just for one person was like $1,500 economy. Miles wise, they wanted 40,000 to 60,000 miles to go to Kauai, and I could not do that. That was just one way, which was insane. Like I could not spend that much. Like you could literally book a flight from Anchorage to Japan sometimes through their alliance with Japan Airlines. I've seen it for 60,000 miles. Like you can go to Germany with airlines with Condor for less. Like, I could not spend that many miles to go to Hawaii. So I kept looking, and finally I found a flight that would get us there 20,000 miles each. But the reason why it was so much cheaper than the rest of the mileage tickets was because that route gave us, I don't remember the total time. It was like maybe 18 hours, but like it was less than 24-hour layover in Seattle, which sounds horrible, but we ended up making a trip out of that layover. So I booked us from Anchorage to Kauai, 20,000 miles each. So that was 80,000 miles total. So I still had extra miles just from what we got from opening up the credit cards. And since I saved on that, I ended up upgrading us to premium economy from Seattle to Kauai. So that's one thing a lot of travel hackers do, is since they're saving so much on the flights or hotel, they like book excursions, or like what I did, upgrade seats, because you're saving on your trip, so it gives you extra money to use for other things. So that's what I did. It's almost a 6-hour flight, so I just paid for that extra leg room. I think it was like $100 for each of us. I was okay with paying that because just for comfort. So on our way back, I used our companion fares that we each got with our credit cards. So what the companion fare is with Alaska Airlines, you buy one full price fare and get the other. It used to be cheaper, but now it's like $122. So you get to go somewhere and bring someone with you. So we did spend money on that. And I did upgrade again for premium economy, because again, if we would have paid full price economy from Anchorage to Kauai and back, it would have been like, I think it was like around $6,400. And instead we paid $2,943.91 for premium economy for the 4 of us. And that includes, that price includes the upgrades and the taxes, which it seems like a lot, but for us, like traveling out of Alaska, it's expensive. So like right now, trying to go to Portland, Oregon can easily be like $800, which is like, what? We were still able to book these flights with more comfort and less than half of what it would have cost us to pay full price in economy. So I still take that as a win. So because we had that long layover in Seattle, because I'm in the points and miles game now, was able to book 2 rooms at the Hyatt Regency Seattle. Oh my gosh, it has the longest name ever. Hyatt Regency Lake Washington at Seattle Southport, I think is what it's called. So that hotel was really nice, and for that one I paid 17,000 points per room. I got us a room. I paid for a room for my sister and her family to come up and see us. Those rooms for that night would have been $332 per room for that one night. So that would have been a total of $664 plus their tax. I paid 0. I did end up referring Brian to that Chase Sapphire preferred card as well. So he got 60,000 points for opening that card, and I got 10,000 points for referring him. So that was 70,000 Chase points that we had. One thing you can do with your player 2 is, since we're married, I called Chase and they kind of like linked our accounts so he can transfer his points to me. So I got his welcome offer transferred to me, which I then transferred to Hyatt. I got these rooms in Seattle. We made a whole trip out of it. I got to see family. We stayed at this beautiful hotel. There are cheaper rooms, but I got rooms with club access. So there's a whole thing, like you could be globalist and have club access all the time. There's like a tier, a status thing with Hyatt. I am not a globalist. They do offer rooms that give you club access. So essentially what the club is it's a room, like a lounge where you can go work, eat, and there's snacks. So there's beverages. Every hotel is different. They have certain hours and they change the type of food depending on the hours. So just check with your hotel if you end up getting a room with club access. So with ours, we were able to get like free drinks and snacks from the time we were there, which helps again with food and budgeting. We would not have been able to do that. Invite family to come up with us and cover their stay. My kids got to see their cousin. I got to see my sister. Like, we would not have been able to do that if it weren't for points and miles. And as far as transportation in Kauai, I rented a car via Hertz through the Capital One portal. So another car that I opened up called the Capital One Venture X. This one, I can't remember what the welcome offer was, but that card gives you a credit of $300 every year to use for travel. So if you go through their portal and book hotel, airline, or car rental, anything that codes as travel, you can use that $300 credit for. So I went through the portal, I looked at Hertz. The car was going to be $317.94. But since I applied the $300 credit, I only paid $17.94 for having a car the whole time we were there, which is crazy. And not only did I get a discount, but I also got miles out of it. So for Capital One, their point system, they call them miles. So I got 180 miles for booking the car rental through their portal, because you get 10 times miles off of car rentals. Like, I'm telling you, like, once you're in this, you see how much like you can get out of it. Like, it's insane. Like, now if I like pay cash somewhere, or if I do something and I don't get anything out of it, like, I actually get upset. I'm like, oh, like I missed out on points and miles. So I know this is a lot of information, but essentially when you add up the cost of the hotels, the flights, the car rental, this trip would have cost us well over $11,457. This is me rounding like the economy flights and all that stuff, but and it only cost us $2,961. So that's like 75% off on this trip. So to me, that is a huge win. And again, that sounds like a lot of money. Like, when you're a family that's trying to take vacations, paying full price for everything, it's nearly impossible when you don't make enough, when you're in debt. So using points and miles, I feel, is the way to go. So there are many different people that use travel hacking for different reasons. I am using it to fund trips that I already have planned out in my head. Brian and I, we got married in Kauai. I always had it in my head that one day we'd go back for our anniversary, just celebrate it where we got married. Then COVID happened, and medical stuff, like every year something happens. I already had Kauai in mind. So I did my whole travel hacking to go to Kauai. I also use something that's called sinking funds. So what I do is, like, every paycheck, I set aside money for things that I know are coming up, whether it be holidays or trips or whatever. And so I had time to save up for this trip. And I'm fortunate, I also have a partner that's working. We both have an income, so we were able to set money aside. Again, we're not debt free, but it kind of sucks for us regular people to think that we can't take trips or do things with our family until we're completely debt free. Like, I can't wait that long. If I wait that long, like, my kids are gonna be grown up. I already have one that's a grown up. I want to do the trips now. So travel hacking is the way that I'm doing it. I know some people worry about like the credit score. It does sometimes like dip a little, but then it'll go back up. Brian has a freaking like credit score over 800. I'm in the high 700s. We have good credit scores. I am so thankful that I came across that reel. I would not have been able to do this. I would not have been able to take our family to celebrate these life events at a luxury resort in Kauai for free. Yes, I paid money for a portion of our flights, but it was upgraded to premium economy. And we already pay like a lot just to get out of Alaska. So that's not like a big shocker for me or for anyone that lives here. But I was able to make so many memories. I was able to see family on our layover, go see Seattle, which we've never done. We've only seen the airport. I am someone that also likes to give gifts. I don't really spend money on myself. I like to spend money on others. So the fact that I was able to gift my sister a room just makes me happy. I have already booked another trip where this one's an international trip. I used points and miles. I was able to gift my mom a trip. I have another trip for next year that I used Hyatt points to book the hotel rooms for myself and my best friend and her family. There are people that are hesitant, and I understand. It's not for everyone, and I don't recommend it for everyone, but I love that I can gift like hotel stays and that I can take vacations with people that I love and care about and that have been so great with me, and it's my way of giving back. Oh yeah, because I forgot to mention that with the World of Hyatt credit card, you get a free night every year. So with that free night certificate, I was able to book the hotel room for my friend for a trip for next year. Yes, these cards have annual fees, so make sure you look into whether the benefits of the card help you. Hyatt has a great points program that you get a lot for your points. So for me, paying the Hyatt credit card annual fee of $95 is worth it, because you get a free night every year just for having the card. You get different points status wise, and for the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I believe it's also $95. It's also worth it for me because their points are so flexible. With those points, I was able to book the Grand Hyatt Kauai. I was able to book this hotel in Seattle. I have another one booked for next year, which I'm superstitious. I get really weird if I know there's people that like announce their upcoming trips, but for me that's like bad juju, and I feel like if I announce it, like something will happen and then the trip will not happen. So I'm just gonna say I have a trip for next year, and I've booked that through Hyatt points that I use with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. My Capital One Venture X, that's the one that has the highest annual fee. That one, I think it's in the 300s. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they have that $300 annual travel credit every year. And I was able to get TSA pre-check with that card. They cover the cost for that. They also cover the cost for global entry. So for me, those benefits make the annual fee worth it. If it's not worth it for you, don't get that card. But the point of this is, if you're gonna get into this, use it for what you need it for. Like, you don't need to take fancy trips. Like, if you want to just go and visit family, you can do that too. I hope you learned something from this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I have another trip coming up in a week, which I also booked with miles. Once you open that door and go into the threshold of travel hacking, you'll see the possibilities, and I hope it works for you guys. If you decide to become a travel hacker, it's worked great for me. I love it. It's my favorite hobby. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.